Go ahead. Give me a... This is the analysis of the second presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The format is really bad because it's not really a debate, and I've mentioned this before in other analysis. In this case, it's even worse because it's 3 against 1. But I have a question for you to consider, which is, who negotiated these debates? These debates were negotiated by representatives of Donald Trump and representatives of Hillary Clinton. Why did they agree to these formats? Why did they agree to Lester Holt, NBC, being the moderator? Why did they agree to Anderson Cooper and Martha Raddatz to be the moderator? They're all well-known supporters of Hillary Clinton. The first debate was the most important debate, and they put it on a network which is completely biased in the liberal direction. Now, I don't think that's very good negotiating. And so Trump boasts a lot about being such a great negotiator. He did a horrible job. Why didn't he pick a conservative supporter of himself? If he had negotiated a reasonable deal, he said, okay, you can have Lester Holt, but I'm going to have Hannity. And that's it. You know, take it or leave it. But he didn't do that. And it's one debate after another. Now, this one is even worse, as I said before, because instead of being Hillary and the moderator against Trump, it's Hillary, Anderson, and Raddatz against Trump. So it's 3 against 1, and Trump mentioned that in the debate. But if he's so smart to realize it in the debate, why did he agree to it? Doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples of how this biased and unfair format affected the debate, but it was obvious it was going to happen. But before, I'd like to make 2 important points, general points, which I think are important in evaluating these two candidates. One is their background. And as I mentioned before, Trump's background is of a businessman, and therefore he's sensitive to cost. Hillary could care less about cost because it's other people paying for all the things she wants to have done, and that's why she wants a bigger government, bigger taxes, so she can have more funds to do more of her pet projects and help more of the people that she wants to benefit. And the cost will be passed on to those people that she really doesn't care for, and the American people in general. So the deficit will go up just like it happened with Obama. Trump, on the other hand, will, because he's a businessman, is cost conscious. So he's going to be looking at every proposed policy in terms of what is the cost. And that is one big advantage of having a businessman as the president as opposed to having a career politician. The other one is, as I mentioned before, the underlying principle that is guiding Trump, which is self-interest. He says, put America first. Now, he doesn't always get right what the policy is for America to come first, but at least he has the right attitude, the right objective, and the right basic principle. Hillary, on the other hand, is all about togetherness, which means a diffuse responsibility, which means nobody is responsible, which means irresponsibility. In other words, she is operating under the principle of self-sacrifice, which means she's going to sacrifice some citizens for the benefit of others. That's the basic view that the Democrats have, which is why they're in favor of wholesale redistribution of wealth. And all the programs can be boiled down to that. They want to sacrifice some citizens for the benefit of others. And then they call that togetherness, or else they'll say a business-government partnership, where the government doesn't contribute anything. Anyway, as you know, all the government does when they spend money is spend individual citizens' money. They don't spend their own money because the government doesn't make any money. Now, let me give you a couple of examples in this debate that were illustrative of this lopsided, unfair, biased format. The first question, which was put forth, was about showing appropriate behavior. Now, do you think it was a coincidence that that was the first question? You think that the issue of Trump's video and the one that the lewd and boasters comments that he made regarding women and what he had done 11 years ago was the first question? Of course not. Who picks these people? They said Gallup. Are you kidding me? Who does the follow-up? The moderators. It really doesn't matter what the first question is. It's the moderators. Do they really press the candidate or not? Did they press Trump on this question? Did Anderson Cooper press him and to whether he had actually committed those acts or not, etc.? Even though he apologized and said he was against it and that he had done wrong and all that, that wasn't enough for him. He pressed him. Did they press Hillary on the comments she made regarding all the women that Bill Clinton actually, in fact, did violate, where he either raped them or sexually harassed them, like Paula Jones and Juanita Broaddrick? You know, that's a double standard. And why didn't they press her on what she said? Why didn't they have the quotes about what she said? Why didn't they press her about what she said about these women? Why didn't they have the quote about what she said about Monica Lewinsky? That she was a bimbo and a liar and that it was all false? Well, you know, if Trump is going to be dragged down by comments he made 11 years ago, I think Hillary should also be dragged down by comments she made about actual proven abuses by women, because the Paula Jones case was actually proven and Clinton admitted it. Anyway, that's one example. Another example was on the carelessness with the emails. Now, unfortunately, Trump did not make it clear that what she did was obstruction of justice when she destroyed evidence that had been subpoenaed. That's a crime in itself. It's also a crime to have gross negligence in the handling of national security information. Maybe that shouldn't be a crime, but it is a crime, and people have gone to jail for it. The criteria is not as Hillary put forth, which is nobody has proven that they actually hacked my server and got the information. That's not the criteria. The criteria is whether you were careless, gross negligence, extremely careless, as the FBI director put it. So they let her get away with changing the criteria and avoiding the fact that what she did was a legal violation, a crime according to the criminal code. They didn't do any follow-up questions on that, and they just let that slide. This is another example of the double standard that's going on. At least they brought up the emails. Lester Holt didn't even bring them up. Okay, so on two-faced politicians, which is the recent scandal of Hillary Clinton, that she admitted that she had one position in public and a different position in private, and they didn't really press her on that. So Hillary says she wants to discuss public policy all the time, right? But in fact, what does she always do? What is she doing, in fact, in these debates? She's throwing mud at every opportunity she can. Insults and personal attacks. And in the first debate, she landed one right after another because they were set up for her by Lester Holt. And in this debate, she tried to do the same thing, all the time complaining that she would like to discuss policy. On the taxes, I think that was a good topic for Trump, and anybody who's rational knows that your taxes are going to go up and government expenditure is going to go up and the economy is going to be blown out of the water and be even worse than it is now, because she wants to go even farther than Obama in this redistribution of wealth, which ultimately always ends up in slow growth or no growth and ultimately depression. But how was the question framed? It was with a false premise. What are you going to do to make the wealthy pay their fair share? Who says the wealthy are not paying their fair share? Right now, the first 1% of owners pay about 30% of the federal income taxes. That's not fair? They have to pay even more? What happened to each citizen contributes to the federal budget? What about the almost 50% of the Americans that don't pay any federal income taxes? That's fair? Some people don't pay anything? No wonder they don't care if the taxes go up. So this is another example of how the moderators don't really act fairly, because they don't bring out the fact that Hillary is using a false standard, and the question used a false standard, a false premise, the fact that how much these wealthy are actually paying. Nobody really talks about the facts. Last question about Aleppo and about Syria. Really, Hillary has been a hawk, and she will continue to be one. So that's what you can expect if you elect her. And that point was really not brought out either by Trump too much or by the moderators. Anyway, thanks for watching.